Hey guys, Chris Moran here to continue the SBX-2 build. I have placed out here bags 10 and 11, which is the rear hub assembly, the wing mount, and the rear camber link. So I'm going to set aside the rear camber link for now. I will be building that separately along with the front steering link. So I'm just going to set that off to the side for right now. So we'll build the rear hubs real quick. I'm going to remove some flashing here. Okay. Alright, once you get those all cleaned up, we will pop in the NMB bearings. Alright. The kit will come with just 2 of these little 2mm set screws. That's for this little hole that's in the side of the hub. There's actually a hole on each side. I would recommend just putting the set screw on the hole that's going to be towards the front of the vehicle to keep any dirt out, or you can add 2 more and go ahead and fill in all of the holes if you like, but it's not really necessary. Just screw it in there till it's flush with the outside. And then we will go ahead and put in our CVAs. Same as the front, I line the CVA pin up with the hex pin. I don't know if that actually does anything, but that's just something I like to do. Make sure that your CVA shaft rotates and moves freely. go ahead and put this one in. It moves nice. Alright, now for the wheel hex, I won't be using the stock hex, so we'll set that aside. I'll be using the +1 optional wheel hex. And the same as we had to do for the front wheel hex whenever we installed those. Have to sand down the back side of the hex just a little bit. So I'm going to do that. Like I said in the front video, I do just a little bit at a time and check it, and then if I need to do a little bit more, I will. I don't have a specific measurement or anything that I do. Just take a little off and then test it. I think that one's still going to be a little bit tight, so we'll take just a little bit more. So, I suppose, since I have one sanded down and one not, I could probably go ahead and take that measurement. 15.42, 15.51. So I guess I'm taking 0.1 millimeters off the back side, is what it appears. Removing 1/10 of a millimeter. So make sure you get all the metal shavings removed. And then we'll put just a little bit of grease on the shaft there. Spread that around. We'll go ahead and slide on our wheel hex. That feels good. And then we will put our set screw on. Tiny bit of Loctite. And there we go. Nice, freshly built. It's absolutely perfect tension. No bind whatsoever. So I'll just go ahead and do just the one to keep the video as short as possible. I'll build the other one off of the camera. So we'll go ahead and install the hub to the car here real quick. Get the car over here. Get a car stand. Set this over here, like so. Okay, so the car comes with a 5mm hub shim, is what it comes with normally, but the distance between the arm gap and the rear hub that you actually need is only 4.66 is the actual number there. So you're not going to want to go all the way as tight as it can go. Obviously, you don't want to bind the hub up. So we're only going to end up using probably about 4.6 or so. How we're going to achieve that is by using all of the extra arm shims and stuff that they sent with the kit. So the rear arms come with this 2mm shim and this 5mm shim. The 5mm shim was what was intended for the rear hub. We're not going to use that, so set that aside. But what we are going to use is the 2mm shim, and that's going to be what we put in front of the hub. We're going to run the hub 2mm back from being all the way forward. So we're going to need about an additional 2.5mm basically. So we'll grab 2 of these 1mm shims, and we'll grab this 0.5mm shim and see where that puts us. So we want to double check that the hinge pin is nice and smooth inside the hub and no bind there, which it is. The lower hole, it seems to be a little tight, but I'm not going to be running that hole anyway. I'm going to be using the top hole, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But if you do run into a tight one, be sure to drill that out to where it's super free on the actual hinge pin. And then the same goes for the actual arm. Make sure that it rotates freely. So let's go ahead and secure it. Put the shims on here. And then put the hub on. And then our 2mm shim in the front. And then you want to double check that your hub moves freely on the pin, which there is a tiny bit of drag there. So I think we'll try losing one of the 1mm shims and going to a 0.75. That's much more free. See, that falls on its own. No bind, and there's perfect no back and forth play, so that's absolutely perfect there. What I ended up with was I always run a 2mm shim in the front of the hub, so it spaces it back 2mm. And then for the back of the hub, what I ended up with was one of the 1/0 shims, a 0.75, and a 0.5. So that totals 2.25mm back here and 2mm here. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves a aluminum nut out. I like to use, it comes with just regular standard steel silver nuts, but I like to use nice pretty aluminum nut. So we'll go ahead and I do put a little bit of Loctite in the actual nut before I thread it on there. Just an extra bit of security. Don't want to crank down on it once you feel it bottom out. Go ahead and stop. And there you go. That's perfectly installed rear hub. Now we'll go ahead and install the wing mount. So for the wing mount installation, the Clark kit comes with 2 of the 3x16 cap head screws and 2 probably 20mm longer ones, and that's because it comes with the screws to run your wing mount all the way down, which runs the bottom 2 screws into the actual gearbox. To run your mount up in the upper holes, which is what I do and how I run it, you will need 2 additional 3x16 cap head screws to do so, because you'll want to run that size screw in all 4 of the holes. So we'll go ahead and do that now. I've already pulled out the screws, so we can just go ahead and put this right on there. Like I said, I do run it in the upper holes. Get them all started in there. Okay, and then you're just going to put nuts on the back side of all 4 of those. So we'll go ahead and get those. Like I said, I like to use the Pretty Blue aluminum nuts. So I also put Loctite on these as well, and these are the same as like on that hinge pin. You don't want to crank them super tight, just tighten them down and call it good. Just like that, and then just wipe off the little bit of Loctite that came out, and there you go. So that's mounting the wing mount, the rear hub. Like I said, we'll be back in a different video to install the rear camber links, and we'll do a separate wing mounting video as well, because there's a little bit something I do there. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you back as we continue to build with other videos. So continue to follow the channel. We'll see you back in the next one.